fast-paced city like New York, first impressions are often what make or break a business. Image is a very powerful tool. In New York City, a building's architecture tells people a lot about the business inside it. In the 1900s, no institution was more aware of image than New York City's banks. Majestic buildings were built to home them. But in a city where rent is always climbing, bankers found themselves kicked to the curb, and these old bank buildings found new owners. NYU's clinical professor of art history, Mosette Broderick, shared the history of these buildings and what inspired them.
When banks began in the United States, somewhere around 1800, banks were initially built in big temple-like structures. They were meant to look like the Parthenon. The Parthenon's been there for 2,000 years, so will your money be. So the early banks did all have temple fronts. American boys used to travel to Paris, where there was an educational system called the School of Fine Arts, or the École des Beaux-Arts. And something like 722 Americans worked in the École des Beaux-Arts system between about 1850 and about 1925. And when they came back to America, they built our big buildings. They built the grand buildings. They built the town halls, and they built the city halls, and the courthouses, and the banks. I suspect most of these buildings are, by definition, now landmarks, because they were great buildings, because they were often by great architects.
Buildings like Duane Reade on Spring and Lafayette Street. The building was once an East River Savings Bank, designed by the man who designed the New York Life Tower. Evidence of the building's old owner is still visible, but banks changed their image. They didn't need these grand halls anymore.
In the 1970s, banks put in the hole in the wall, the ATM, and we no longer need those kind of buildings. And what banks have been doing is building a lot of glassy, small, frequent versions, not big, impressive greeting buildings, and they don't need those big spaces anymore. And when those buildings, which were in the meantime turned into landmarks, when those buildings were abandoned by the banks, what can you do with them? They're huge, empty, single stories often, grand proportions, and you can put rugs in there, you can put a wonderful carpet store, etc. But I don't think we're needing wonderful carpet stores anymore. So just about the only local product that people need lots of is hair shampoo. And I think the Duane Reades and the other drugstores, which are really cosmetic houses, the actual drugstore is a tiny aspect of their business. They're selling you every beauty product known to mankind. Become a sort of convenience store, but one that has enough product to fill the shelves, which I think you'd find great difficulty doing with any other kind of retail establishment in the city right now.